Okay, awesome. We are going to go ahead and start to go live in about 2 minutes. So, definitely looking forward to sharing this good information with everyone. It's actually what I look forward to every single week is being able to communicate, to share, and to obviously connect with like-minded people and even people who are not like-minded because that gives me a great opportunity for me to learn. So, definitely looking forward to this. Okay, cool. So we will start shortly. I'm actually excited about this topic. I've been thinking about it all week. Hope everyone's having an amazing day or so far had an amazing week. Definitely looking forward to being able to connect with people. So, all right, cool. I like to start on time, so let's go ahead and start. Welcome, everyone, or welcome back if you have been here before. My name is Will Zapata, and this is our Beyond the Solar series. This is where we get an opportunity to talk about things outside of the solar industry. We get to talk about wealth. We get to talk about health. We get to talk about family, fatherhood, and what we're going to be talking about today is fitness and how being able to take the whole lifestyle of being fit, being able to take the lifestyle of working on yourself has completely changed me and how it has made me a much more disciplined person. So, looking forward to being able to do that here, man. So yeah, I'm really looking forward. Mr. Rahman, so happy that you're here, brother. Thank you so much, man. Hope everything is going well in Bangladesh. I'd love to be able to visit the country. It looks absolutely amazing. So, shout out to you, brother. And yes, we definitely are looking for people that do know how to set quality appointments, that are able to engage with homeowners. So, please feel free to leave us a comment, and we'd love to be able to connect with you. So, if you haven't gotten a chance to get to know me, my name is Will Zapata. I've had the pleasure of being in the solar industry for a little bit, just about 10 years, and obviously I've been growing and developing as a human being for the last 36 years. And what we're going to be able to get into today is from hustle to habit is the name of this live stream, and what has fitness taught me about being able to be disciplined. Let me tell you, I have probably been on my fitness journey for the last 15, maybe 16 years. I started when I was 14 years old to start to develop and work on my body. And it was something that I have never looked back from. It has been the greatest thing that I have ever invested in, has been in my health and my well-being, and taking my body and deciding to be the master of what I wanted to look like. And I'm really excited to be able to share a little bit about my fitness journey and also another perspective of how we can look at fitness, right? For what we see a lot of the things online, right? It probably seems like fitness is about like, hey, how do I look without a shirt on, or how do I look in certain type of clothing? What kind of reaction am I gonna get? It's about, maybe I go to the gym every single day, but we want to take a different look at what it means to be fit, what it means to actually live a healthy lifestyle, and how to not just look at a physical fitness, but how do we also make sure that we're spiritually fit and then we're mentally fit as well. When I first started in my fitness journey, I'll be honest with you guys, the reason why I started was I just wanted to look good. And that's probably the case for a lot of us, right? We're looking to be able to change our bodies because maybe we have an image of what we think our bodies should look like, and we work hard to try to achieve those goals. When I first started in my fitness journey, that was the same thing that I was looking to accomplish, right? I had a good friend of mine that he was into working out, and I remember that I decided to change what I was going to spend my birthday money on, and this is going back like 15 years ago. but I got $150 for my birthday, right? And what I decided to do, instead of buying shoes or clothes, I was gonna invest in a bench. And this is a bench where you can do, you can do bench presses. It had some weights in it, and that was gonna be my first investment. And even before then, when I didn't have the money to do it, my parents, they had like a cleaning service where they worked for a company that did it, and I would just basically get an old, pole or an old stick from a broom or a mop, and I would add those chemicals on it, like literally just slide them in, and I would use that to lift weights. And then finally, I was able to upgrade into a bench press, right, or a bench, so I could do bench presses. And that's really what got me started in my fitness journey. When I first started, right, I started to look at fitness as something that, hey, I had to hit a goal, right? I wanted to essentially be able to, look good. I wanted to feel strong. I wanted to feel empowered, and essentially that's how I got started into working out. And which is great, right? Because it was able to allow me to have the discipline to develop my body. It was able to be able, it allowed me the opportunity to, get stronger. And overall, you're just gonna feel good, right? When you look good, you feel good, you act good, and it overall just changes the chemical balance that's going on in your body, right? So what we're going to do for today is we want to break down and take a few lessons that I've been able to learn in my fitness journey, and I want to be able to share that with all of y'all, and hopefully you're able to feel empowered by it. I'm hoping that you're able to get inspired by it, and most importantly, I hope that then you can take that and share it with somebody else, right? Because as we've spoken before, I truly believe that we are in the service of helping other human beings, right? I think what really gives us purpose is us being able to share our journey, share our lessons with other people. And I firmly believe that the reason why the Creator put us here is to be able to help out one another. So I hope that my lessons are able to help you guys, and I hope that you're able to develop from it and then share that as well. So the first lesson that I learned, right, is how to be consistent. And I can tell you guys, for the most part, 99% of the time, working out is not fun, right? This is just a personal opinion. I don't care what anybody says. It's just, it hurts, right? Because you're stretching out your body, you're doing certain movements, right? Sometimes you're tired. But the reason why I stick to having a healthy lifestyle is because of the consistency that it provides. Even in the moments where I did not want to work out, right? I decided that, hey, I have a routine, right? I decided that I was going to stick to it. And the reason for it is I don't like to be a quitter, right, guys? And I'm just not the kind of person that wants to seem like I gave up on something. I'm not the kind of person that wants to seem like I didn't, do my fair share for myself, right? I don't like to be the kind of person that gives up on themselves. And the best thing that you can do to show that you really love and care about yourself is making sure to take care of the person that you are, right? I understand working out may not always be fun, and it's also a lifelong process. I can tell you that the way that I work out today is not the same way that I used to work out even 5 years ago. Shoot, even 1 year ago, right? I like to always switch things up, but the things that I like to keep consistent is to make sure that I have my body in motion, right? So if you're somebody that maybe you don't have a lot of time, right? Or maybe, life is just coming at you right faster than what you can process it, just being able to take 5 to 10 minutes of your day and be able to get the blood going, be able to get your heart rate up, whether it's doing some jumping jacks, whether it's doing some push-ups. What I like to do, that's my favorite thing when I don't have a lot of time to work out, or even maybe a lot of room, or maybe I don't have any equipment, is I love to do burpees. I am a huge fan of being able to do burpees. Why? Because I am ambitiously lazy. So what I mean by that, and why I love burpees so much, is because I get a full body workout and I feel like I just ran a marathon, right? If anybody has ever done burpees, I'm sure you know that once you start to do anything more than 10 burpees in a row, your heart is going to be pumping. And that's why I love it, because you don't need to have a lot of room. You don't need to have a lot of equipment. You don't need to be a professional. You can just be, hey, you can just one day decide that, boom, I'm going to start to change my lifestyle. I'm going to start to change the way that I look. I'm going to change the way that I feel. And you can go ahead and start working out right then and there, right? So what I like to do, right, more than anything, is that I love to be able to take the opportunity to work out a little bit more. I like to be able to go about my day, and I like to get the workout out of the way as soon as possible. Why is that? The reason for it is because I feel like working out is the hardest thing that you can do. And now imagine how you can go about in your day if you're able to get in an early workout, right? Whether, you worked out for an hour or maybe you worked out for 5 minutes. But the best thing to do is to be able to get the workout out of the way, because I feel like that is the hardest thing that you can do for yourself. And mentally, it puts you in the right mindset where you're like, okay, well, I did the hardest part of the day. I did it early, right? So everything else feels so much easier, right? If me, I've gotten into running recently, man, I feel like I can tackle the hardest things once I've gotten my run out the way, right? If I'm short on time and maybe I just need to do a couple of burpees, I feel like, whew, so much better. I feel like I did the hardest thing of the day. I did it already, so everything else just feels easier, right? Somebody like me, I'm in sales. It is so much easier to go ahead and make some phone calls whenever I've already gotten my workout out the way, man, because I feel like working out, stretching, and pushing my muscles is much harder than, me making a phone call once I've already done that, right? So that's the great thing. And we all know that there's some chemicals that go on in your body whenever you're able to get yourself into a workout or get yourself moving, or maybe you're doing some weight resistance. You there's some endorphins that happen in your body and they get you in a much better mood. I always say that the best cure to a depression is being able to get some movement happening. It's being able to work out. It's being able to challenge your body in order to, to be better, right? So listen, whether you have 1 minute or 1 hour to work out, please take advantage of moving your body. Please take advantage of being able to get your heart rate up. And listen, start off small, right? Not all of us are designed to go ahead and start working out 1 hour every single day. That's just, you can't go from 0 to 100 right away, as much as we would like to, right? But the whole point is to be consistent. If you're able to get your heart rate going, if you're able to start off with 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and just do it consistently, you'll find that that is so much easier to do than just, going from like, I'm gonna start going to the gym, never did it before, or I wasn't so consistent, and that's going to make it so much harder in order for you to get that consistent action happening, right? Now, the second lesson that I love about working out is how it puts my mind. Remember, being fit is not just about looking good. That's going to be a great benefit, right? But it's also about how does it get your mindset, right? I know for me, as I mentioned, I've gotten into running. Believe it or not, running is probably my favorite workout. And the reason that running is so much fun to me is because I feel like it is my opportunity to connect with the creator, right? I feel like I can have my conversations, with the creator when I'm on a run, when I can just feel that breath, right? I feel like me being able to take in the breath, take in the nature outside, it is my best way to be able to connect with the creator. It's an opportunity where I can clear my mind. It's a chance where I can leave everything on the table, right? And I can just let myself be free. And I absolutely love it. I love the opportunity that running gives me. I love the way that running makes me feel. And if you're short on time, you'll find that, for example, if you don't have a lot of time to work out, you'll find that, maybe just 5, 10, 20, even 30 minutes of working out does wonders for you. I absolutely love the opportunity to work out and go on a run. I feel like it gives me an opportunity for me to connect with my creator. On top of that, it feels like for me, I can let out a lot of stress, right? Listen, especially in today's day and age, we all live stressful lives, right? We have a lot of things that are probably going through our mind, and it's great to be able to just, I like to call it, I leave it out on the mat or leave it out on the streets, and I just go ahead and go for my run. And as I told you guys before, right, I'm ambitiously lazy. So I love the idea of not having to think, right? When I get the opportunity of me not having to think so much, I can just go ahead and run. I have a goal and I love to be able to go for it, right? No pun intended. And being able to take the opportunity to clear your mind, it's going to give you a chance to just focus on the rest of the day, right? I understand that life can be hectic, especially if you're a parent, especially if, maybe you're starting a business, maybe you're in school, maybe you're working at a job, right? Maybe you're having problems in your relationship. Being able to focus and dedicate on yourself and take a few moments of your day to make yourself the most important person at that moment, it just gives you an opportunity to have some clarity, right? I feel like when I go running or when I do a workout, I feel like I'm able to just cleanse my soul because I'm able to, again, take in nature. If you're running outside, I feel like I can, get my heart rate up. I feel like I can, have the oxygen go through my body, and then I can just let it all out, right? If you've ever been in stressful situations, or maybe you've been in, sad situations, running is a great opportunity for you to be able to just go ahead and, let the breath out, being able to challenge yourself a little bit, being able to sweat it all out. I recommend that if you're not into running, definitely look at it as an opportunity for you to be able to connect with yourself, be able to connect with your creator. We all connect with our with our spirituality in different ways. For me, I love the idea of running. Again, I'm ambitiously lazy, so I love the idea of being able to work out while I get an opportunity to speak with God and maybe even just listen to the messages that God is trying to tell me, right? So great opportunity for you to be able to do some movement that then allows you to clear your mind, right? Now, the third lesson in why fitness is so important is that it just helps you to be a better leader. Look, right? When you feel strong about your body, when you feel, like you've accomplished something, when you feel like you've done something challenging, you're able to really understand and put yourself in other people's shoes, right? Because you were able to conquer something that's very difficult in your day, right? I love and I love to be able to, use my fitness as a way that I can go ahead and be a better leader. Why? Because you have to have patience, you have to have dedication, you have to have consistency, right? And overall, if you're able to do something that you don't want to do, or maybe you're able to do something that you just wasn't feeling it, or maybe you're feeling sore, maybe you have a lot on your mind, but you still get up in order to go ahead and get on your workout. Imagine how that's going to be able to translate when you go and you step into your office, or when you go and you have a conversation with your children, or maybe you want to have a conversation with your significant other, right? Being able to work on yourself, it is so important because you're able to translate everything that you did, right? And into maybe, hey, now you have a stronger mindset. Now you have a stronger spirit. Think about this, right? How much easier is it for you to have a discussion with your significant other or whoever it's important in your life for your team when you've already gone in a good workout, right? It's so much easier, right? You've probably let out a lot of stress. You've given yourself an opportunity to reflect. You've given yourself an opportunity to think things over. Now, whatever it is that you have to face in that day, it is so much better for you to be able to take on when you've been able to, again, prioritize yourself. Listen, right, team? Being fit, again, it's not just about the way that you look in the mirror, right? It's not just about the way that, you get the likes on the social medias, right? Being fit is about being the best version of yourself and always working to improve, right? Being fit is about you loving yourself so much that no matter how crazy it is out there, we all know how crazy the world can get, you're still taking the time to prioritize your well being. It's going to be very hard for you to be able to be a servant to others when you haven't been able to serve yourself. And I love the way that working out makes me feel because, again, I like to serve other people, right? That is the dream for me. I was talking about it in some of my other streams that if something that I would do for free, right, is I would love to be able to listen to people's problems and or maybe listen to what people are going through, be able to give them some feedback, and I would do that for free because I genuinely love engaging with other people, right? I can do it all day. I love talking to people. I love sharing and connecting with people, and the best way that you're going to be a great servant to people is by being able to be the best servant to yourself, right? It's very hard for you to be able to fill someone else's cup when your cup is dry, right? So going back to it, right? Lesson number one, consistency is is very important. It is stronger than motivation, because motivation is going to wear down, right? Motivation is going to leave you. But if you're consistent, if you're getting up and doing what you have to do regardless of how you feel, right, that's going to be the thing that's going to lead you to achieving your goals, right? The people that are successful in life, the people that are able to do something extraordinary, it is because they are consistent. It is because no matter what, no matter how they feel, they still get up and do what they need to, right? The second lesson, movement clears the mind. I also think it clears the spirit. For me, again, when I'm able to go out on my runs, when I'm able to just take a moment to work out outside, I personally love it. I feel like it's a great opportunity for me to connect with the creator, right? Fitness helps me, or the third lesson, fitness helps me be a better leader. Why? Because I feel like if I can tackle on the hardest thing of the day very early in the morning, I feel like everything else becomes a breeze, right? I give a lot of credit and I got a lot of respect for people that can work out, late at night or in the afternoon. And I get it. We have to do what we need to do in order to stay fit. But the reason why I like to do it early in the morning is because I've gotten the hardest thing out the way. I've rewarded myself early, so I get to go ahead and, take on my challenges. And the fourth lesson is that discipline in fitness is going to spill over into other aspects of your life, right? Once I was able to become consistent with my physical health, I noticed that there were other things that helped me as well. So I'll give you guys an example. When I was when I'm consistent in my workout, I realized that I said I was going to do something, so I did it. So that translates over into how I run my business, right? I'm not going to go ahead and give somebody my word and then not show up. Why? Because I've already learned the lessons that if I said I'm going to get up and do a workout, then I'm going to get up and do a workout. There's no excuses, right? It helps me manage my time better because I know that, hey, I got certain things that I need to get done. And the first thing is that I need to make sure that I'm prioritizing myself. Being disciplined in your fitness translates into, the way that you handle your relationships. Why? Because you're going to be a person of your word, right? There's nothing probably more powerful than you being a person of your word, you doing what you're going to say and saying what you're going to do, right? I think that makes sense, right? Right? And that's how discipline spills over into other part. If you've gotten the chance to know me, you'll know that I am a person that I tend to be extremely on time. I hate being late for things. I'd rather be early. I'm a person that if I told you A, I'm going to do A, right? I'm a person that I like to make sure that my word is my bond. And if I told you I was going to do something, then I am going to do it, right? Because remember, right, guys, being fit is not just about the physical part, right? It's also about how it makes you feel mentally. It's how you deal with your emotions. There's been times in my life, right, where I've had, some extreme hardships that I've used fitness as a way to help me get through it, right? Even, I've been running and I've bawled my eyes out just because I needed to let it out, right? And sometimes it's much more difficult to go ahead and maybe, express your feelings to somebody else, but maybe it's so much easier for you to be able to express your feelings, when you're out there for a run or when you're speaking to the creator or when you're just doing your workouts, when you're lifting some weights. It's so much easier to just let it out. That's why I love the idea of being fit. Overall, if you look at the way that humans have been in our history, right? Being able to take the time to work on yourself, it is a sign of growth. It is a sign of development. It is a sign of opportunity, right? There's That's why there's a direct correlation with being able to feel good, right? Whenever you work out, and it's because of all the chemicals that it releases in your body. It is because if you're able to look good, you're going to feel much better. And if you feel much better, you're just going to deal with situations and people in a much better light because you're not going to play the case of a victim, right? You're a warrior, right? You get up every single day and you work on yourself. You're somebody that you don't let life happen to you. You take control. You take charge. You're what I like to call the sculptor of your life. That's you because you've decided to put yourself first, both physically, mentally, and spiritually, right? Or three, right? But it's also because you decided that you're not going to sit around and let things happen to you. You're going to be a person that creates things, right? So some extra things that I wanted to talk into, right, is being physically fit, right? As a dad and as a business owner, I look at myself as a role model. One of the things that I was doing when I was expecting my son is that I decided to increase my running time, right? I was training for half a marathon. Now, I did end up running it, but I was training for a half a marathon because I wanted to make sure that when my son came, he saw a physically strong dad. I wanted my son to see an emotionally strong dad, a spiritually strong dad, and I decided to take that as an opportunity to make myself better. One of the things that I would jokingly say is like, well, if I'm out of shape, what is my son going to say about me? What is my daughter going to say about me, right? Like, dad, what was you doing with all the time that you had, right? What was you doing with everything? Take the opportunity, right, and work on yourself. Because when you're a father or a parent or you're a business owner, believe it or not, you're really a role model for other people. And if people see that you slack out on the way that you look or the way that you feel, that's just gonna spill out into the other portions of your life. Trust me, in moments where for whatever reason, I slacked on my workouts or I wasn't as consistent, right? Because we're not all perfect. It's going to happen to us, right? I noticed that the way that I reacted to things, I tended to play more of the victim. I tended to be more sad whenever I didn't take advantage and go on my run, or I didn't work out, or I wasn't working on myself. I noticed that I just handled things differently and I did not like the way that I behaved. I felt like I became a victim instead of being a warrior. I felt like I was just letting life happen and I wasn't taking control and taking charge of life, right? Take an opportunity, being able to be, physically active, to get some movement, to take in, a deep breath, to be able to meditate. If this is something that you found like it helps you be grounded, definitely drop a comment. I'd love to be able to hear what you all do in order to stay physically fit, right? How do you stay spiritually fit? How do you stay mentally fit? I'd love to know what you guys do whenever you're like, maybe you're going through a tough situation, right? I'm a big believer indulging in vices is not the answer. I think the best thing that you can do if you're depressed, if you're sad, if you're unsure, is work on yourself, right? You're never going to regret taking the opportunity to work out. You're not going to regret taking the opportunity to make yourself better. You're not going to regret to, getting the opportunity to connect with the creator. So I'd love to know what y'all do in order to stay grounded. How do you stay disciplined? What is it that you do? What has been maybe some of your, mishaps, right? Like what has stopped you from being consistent? I'd love to be able to understand and hear all that, because remember, at the end of the day, we're here to support one another, right? There's probably something that somewhere someone around the world has been through that they can understand what you're going through. There's probably someone that can actually relate to what you're going through. There's probably people that can actually be a service to you and give you some insight and maybe have gone through the same things that you're going through right now, that they probably couldn't see their way out of it, but they did, and they can help and guide you. I'm a big believer in being able to rely on one another to make ourselves better, make ourselves stronger, and then obviously be able to be a servant for one another, right? So if you're feeling like unmotivated, if you're feeling stuck, maybe the answer isn't like I'm just gonna completely change who I am, right? Change of that magnitude doesn't happen overnight, but maybe you start off with, I'm just gonna take 1 to 2 minutes every single day and I'm gonna work out on myself. Maybe I'm gonna take 1 to 2 minutes and I'm just gonna meditate. Maybe I'm gonna take 1 to 2 minutes and I'm just gonna go ahead and read a book, or read my spiritual book, or whatever it is that you need to do in order to make yourself feel better. Because remember, fitness isn't just about the body, it's about the spirit, it's about the mind, right? Start small, move daily, take an opportunity to breathe. I think every time we inhale and we take a deep breath, I feel like it's a great opportunity for us to just slow things down in a world that's constantly moving faster and faster, and then take an opportunity to reflect, right? Be grateful that you have another day to make yourself healthy. Be grateful that you have the opportunity to move. Be grateful that you have an opportunity to think, right? Sometimes we don't realize how blessed we are just to be able to do those things, because I tell you, there are a lot of people that don't even have that opportunity anymore, and they would give anything to be able to work on their health. They would do anything to be able to make their mental health better, to make their spiritual health better, right? Fitness taught me that, and it's still fitness has taught me how to, again, be able to be the sculptor of your body, be able to be the sculptor of your life. And being fit and being into fitness continues to teach me that. One last thing that I forgot to mention is that with the discipline of fitness is that's going to translate in the way that you view your finances, right? I think finances and fitness go very well together because hey, if you have no self-control of the body, that's just going to lead into other things. And we talk about here, being free, being fit, being a father, all of those things connect, and they all connect because it starts with the discipline of the self, right? I hope that you were able to find lessons in this message, right? I'd love to be able to engage and be able to speak more with you guys about it. I'd love to be able to understand what has been some of the hardships that you have been through, right? I'd love to understand, hey, why don't you work out if you don't, right? What has been the hardest part about getting into fitness? Is it a lack of knowledge? Well, there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of pages about fitness, right? Is it location? Right? Well, maybe you can work out in your home. Is it maybe that you don't have a support group? I'd love to be able to know how y'all journey is going when it comes to making yourself the best version of who you can be, because at the end of the day, right? That's what we're here for. We're here to work on ourselves every single day. We're here to be able to improve on a day by day basis. And then, most importantly, we're here to be able to share that knowledge, share that experience with our fellow human beings. At the end of the day, I truly believe that being in the service of other people is what's going to make us happy. I'd love to be able to connect with y'all. So please feel free to, drop a like, drop a comment, send me some messages. I want to hear your stories. I want to be able to connect with y'all as much as possible, right? Because I love sharing and I love learning from other people. So I hope that you was able to find this rewarding. I hope that you was able to find this informative. And I look forward to be able to continue to connect with you guys, because this is our Beyond the Solar series, right? We want to talk about freedom. We want to talk about fatherhood. We want to talk about fitness. We want to talk about finances. We want to talk about fatherhood, right? This is what it's all about. It's about being the best version of ourselves. So I appreciate everybody that commented. I appreciate everybody that liked. I appreciate everybody that came on and gave me a few moments of their day, knowing how crazy and how busy their day can be. I truly appreciate y'all, and I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you and take care.